Now, for this, Minister of Environment, Forestry and Fisheries, Barbara Creecy, has been observing mop-up operations in Durban following recent floods in the province. She believes that it's important that we focus on cleaning up the environment and understanding how environmental degradation contributes to worsening the effects of climate change. Minister Creecy joins me now. Now, Minister, welcome to Newsfeed PM. As I was saying earlier on, you have been a part of the mop-up campaign over the last 2 days in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Just take us through the objectives of that outreach.
Well, good afternoon to you and greetings to all of you, your viewers, and thank you for the opportunity. Yes, yesterday I spent the day visiting communities that had been affected by the flooding. A very interesting visit to the Overport West informal settlement. This particular informal settlement was severely affected by the floods. More than 400 homes were washed away. But because this community is in a partnership with the city of eThekwini and also the certain professors, from the University of Durban, Westville. They have a project which monitors the impact of flooding, and they were able to evacuate themselves prior to the severe flooding that took place. And amazingly, despite these 400 homes being washed away, not a single life was lost. And I think the significance of this is that as we combat climate change, we do, of course, have to focus on climate-proofing infrastructure. We have to focus on moving people out of flood zones. But more importantly, we have to work with communities and help communities to understand the impact of where they're settled and how they can be empowered to take evasive action. I also went to the Blue Lagoon beach in the city of eThekwini, where we were helping to remove huge quantities of plastic that have washed onto the beach in the flood, and also remove huge trees and organic matter that are also cluttering the beaches.
Now, Minister, it's very interesting that you should mention that the organization has been quite proactive, because the devastation from the KZNFloods has left many destitute, but it has certainly hit the province economically. Do you think enough is being done to conscientize communities about the importance and rather the impact of climate change and its effects on our pockets?
You know, I think that up until fairly recently, perhaps in the last year or two, we have all been living under a misconception that climate change is a slow onset event and it will affect us decades from now. And I think because of that, while all of our major cities have climate response strategies, in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic and other priorities, we haven't adequately budgeted to climate-proof our cities. But I think that while we have instances such as this project I was telling you about, we obviously are going to have to do a great deal more so that communities can understand how severe weather events will affect them and how they can take evasive action. Because what we know, and I think often it's a very glib thing that we say, that climate change will affect those living in conditions of poverty the worst. But it's not necessary for those people to be completely helpless and completely powerless. And I think that the lessons of this community that is working in the Palmet River catchment really is a lesson in good practice that we could replicate throughout the city of Durban.
Now, Minister, last week, Minister Senzo Mchunu highlighted that his department will be taking advantage of a situation in KZN and fully immerse resources in fixing already ailing water pipe systems. Do you see opportunities for your department to do the same in order to get us to a place where cities are ready for climate change, because it is inevitable, and like you've just said now, it's not a slow process, it's happening faster than we think?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that there's a much greater openness and understanding amongst the public generally about the phenomena of climate change. You know, when I first was in this job about 3 years ago, I could see people's eyes glaze over when I tried to talk about climate change, whereas now everybody understands it and everybody's interested in it as a phenomena. And I think that tragic as this situation in KZN has been, it's very important that we learn the good practice lessons that exist even in the face of this tragedy, and that we find ways in which we can replicate them. Already, the university, together with the city of eThekwini, are talking about replicating this project into all the catchments in the city of eThekwini. And obviously, that would be very important as a parallel process with processes of resettlement of communities out of flood zones.
Lastly, Minister, there have been calls from opposition parties to say that government has really been slow in ensuring that we speed up the process of people knowing about climate change and putting in proper policies in order to ensure that climate change affects us in less of a way. Do you think more could have been done earlier?
Well, I guess it's the job of the opposition to beat the ruling party. I think that what is important now is that we take advantage of the fact that a wide range of people in society are open to understanding climate change and open to understanding what they can do about it. As I said, this was not the case a couple of years ago, and it's very important that we urgently capitalize on this new interest and make sure that in different cities that face different phenomena, we are able to tailor-make messages so that communities can understand what is going to happen and so that they can take power into their own hands to protect themselves and to protect their families.
Thank you so much. That was Minister Barbara Creecy telling us about climate change and the effects that it's had, especially in the province of the KwaZulu-Natal, but also the mop-up operations that they have been taking a part in ensuring that we keep our environments clean in order for us to feel less of the effects of climate change. Now,